You can't be serious. I mean, really though? You mean to tell me that them Voltrons went out like that? Hey, yo, Nims, let me hold this for a minute.
Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, Ho said, shit, let me move my bowels. Bong bing, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house. That playing game don't mean you won inside the playoffs. Don't even talk to the media, take that jersey off. The 4 games I'm tuned in, you had the city watching. Don't even watch Philly play, just watch James Harden. That swing pick, never mind, I let my man take him. And now Katie having nightmares of Jason Tatum. That famous line by Loaded Lux that you gon' get this work. Don't talk to me about Ben, he said his back hurt. Like Kyrie, like Steve Nash, you can take the blame. Come next year, I'm going back to playing half them games. The truth be told, we don't care about your Barclays. When it comes to the city, this here's RJ's. My young Gems right now, yeah, they on some shit. From Obi Toppin, I man your ass real quick. A line flip, no, I feel bad for Blake Griff. That's the loss you gotta take to win a championship. Now you back like the New Jersey Nets. What you thought your Final Four was cutting down the nets? Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, Ho said, shit, let me move my bowels. Bong bing, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house.
When it comes to the city, it's on.
The streets are buzzing. Salute, 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 Knicks Nation. Salute to the chat. Salute to Replay Gang. Hope everybody is well this morning, getting their day off on the right foot. We're here to talk some Knicks. I'm ready. I know you are too. And salute to everyone out here in the chat. What's good, fam? Saga, good morning. D's World of Hoops. Hope you're well. Salute. Cash out, my friend. What's happening? Astral is off the chain. What's good? Quiet Money. Salute. What to talk about? The RJ Barrett talk out here. Of course, the Donovan Mitchell rumors are heating up. And we're probably going to hear a lot more today as well. We're going to chop up the latest and greatest with this situation out here. Prometheus, salute. And it's been absolutely buzzing non-stop with this situation as we get into it. Prometheus, salute. That's a tap. And I've got a culmination of the latest, stories out here from the media, pending to this situation with Donovan Mitchell, the Utah Jazz. Of course, Mark Berman, we know, came back from leave as well, and has dropped a lot of intel and talk on this situation. Ian Begley chimed in as well yesterday with the talk as well, and we have some talk ongoing in Utah as well, and the situations out there. Firstly, I'll hit on the. I want to get into the latest stuff from Ian Begley yesterday. That is some Knicks decision makers. Some Knicks decision makers, are open now to including RJ Barrett in a trade for Donovan Mitchell as well. So, I take that still with a grain of salt. Not saying Ian Begley's always got great sources, but in terms of taking it with a grain of salt, is it going to happen? Is RJ Barrett going to be in this deal as well? I'm still on the more unlikely side that that's going to happen. Some Knicks decision makers might be open to doing it. Danny Ainge now, the Utah Jazz, might be open or wanting RJ Barrett. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, this is still posturing. This is still going back and forth. Sides, speaking to the media, leaking things out here as well. My personal thoughts, the Knicks absolutely should not include RJ Barrett in this deal as well. He's a guy still on his rookie contract for one more year. I'd like to bring RJ Barrett back, keep him with this team and see what can happen with this situation. Nor do I feel like he needs to be in this deal to get Spider as well. In terms of his salary, we know, Danny Ainge would prefer, the talk has been leading up, Danny Ainge would prefer to, to deal with draft picks and low salary as well. obviously RJ Barrett is the best young prospect on the Knicks, right? So it's only natural that, you know, he would be open to taking him back. And just how interested he is, I'm not sure as well. But, you know, the talk is getting louder and louder with this situation, right? You know, as SNY continues to report from yesterday, Utah certainly seeks RJ Barrett in a deal. They would like to get Barrett back, according to Ian Begley. So, you know, we hadn't yet heard the talk being that loud that the Utah Jazz really, really wanted RJ Barrett. It was talk about the lower salaried young players and the unprotected picks. With this situation, we're going to get into it with all of this, fam. And salute to the chat out here, Malik, new subscriber. Appreciate you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you're rocking with us as well as the regular Streets fam, Knicks fam here, ready to start their day off and get into this thing. This deal's still very likely. Talks are going to continue to heat up. Now the news dropped that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are Brooklyn net still, and are going to stay a Brooklyn net for the beginning of this season. So that's going to cause a lot of dominoes now to fall. I think traction, you know, around the league, you know, with teams pivoting to their next moves, you know, being albeit the Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, and a lot of other teams out here trying to make upgrades, right? So what does this mean? Does more teams get involved or try to get involved in this Donovan thing? I feel like that's going to, you know, a lot of that buzz is going to continue. But it's really the Knicks and the Jazz that are leading the race for this deal, a 1v1. Now, of course, the Lakers would be interested in getting involved by all reports now. You know, they have the Utah Jazz have veterans that the Lakers are interested in, with Patrick Beverley and Bogdanovich as well, with reports there. So I really do feel like that the Lakers are going to try to, you know, talk to the Knicks and the Jazz and try to get involved in this deal, right? And the Lakers, to appease LeBron, are interested in parting ways with two of their picks. Well, so this could soften the blow. You know, it could help the Knicks out with this situation if the Lakers are willing to part with some draft assets to send over to Utah. And of course, Utah and the Knicks could send some parts to help LeBron and AD, you know, get back on track. So I still see, you know, a three-way team, probably the best for all scenarios with this thing. What are your thoughts? Now, in terms of the Knicks and the Jazz side of things, the New York Post, Mark Berman, also talks on, you know, the big nugget in terms of the latest is that the mix of young players in the deal, in terms of the Grimes, Obies, and Quickleys, is, you know, both sides are amenable to that situation. It's really about the unprotected picks. You know, how many unprotected picks are the Knicks willing to give up? And just how many unprotected picks is a deal breaker for the Utah Jazz? Now, the reports also that the latest offer on the table for Donovan is reportedly Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, additional salary, which you could assume might be Cam Reddish or Deuce McBride, and 5 first-round picks, with 2 of them unprotected, and 3 of the protected picks as well. You know, I got no issue parting with all of those protected picks as well, with conditions on them. You know, they aren't as valuable, truth be told. To just part with 2 unprotected picks would be a good situation, I think, for the Knicks. And then it's on to the young players, of course. You know, we still wait to see really which young players are going to be in this deal. You know, we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about your preferences. But the latest report was that Obi Toppin was in that proposal as well. That's very interesting for me. Does sound like obviously Tibbs is very high on IQ. The organization Worldwide West is very high on IQ as well. And they're obviously trying to keep, Leon Rose loves to keep Quentin Grimes out of the deal. Quentin Grimes was a Leon Rose pick, and he may have a certain affinity to Quentin Grimes as well. And of course, you need to put one good young player in the deal. So it looks like it could be Obi from the latest reports. However, Danny Ainge rejected this deal by all reports as well. So Danny Ainge rejected that deal based on the unprotected picks as well. According to the New York Post side of the story, is that the young player mix was agreeable between the two sides. It was the unprotected, the lack of unprotected picks in that deal is why Danny Ainge, rejected it as well. And some fresh news out of Utah just come in as well. Spence Checketts, says if the market for KD was 5 first-round picks and 4 of them were protected, as well, what in your right mind do you think Danny Ainge is going to get for Donovan? And some of the early reporting was wrong and irresponsible. So what he's saying is basically KD, the Brooklyn Nets couldn't get more than a few unprotected picks for KD. So there's no way Donovan Mitchell should be able to get that as well. So that's some interesting reporting. Utah, from out of Utah, a show, Spence Checketts of ESPN. And for once, that's the first time I've heard someone on that side of things talk in a more reasonable sense as well, in terms of realistic, measures. The fact that KD wasn't able to get that kind of package, and Brooklyn weren't able to get what they wanted with this situation. So there's no way the Knicks should give up more than 3 to 4 unprotected picks for Spider Mitchell, right? So if KD couldn't get it, there's no way Spider Mitchell should with this situation, right? Now, let's get into some comments. Mav, salute. I would love to keep Barrett. He's a Knicks guy 100%. He's going to have to get paid. So if we do get Mitchell, that's a lot of high salaries unless they plan on trading one of the starters. That basically sums up my thoughts with this situation, Mav, too. I'd love to keep Barrett out of this deal. I think he won't be in the deal. I think we'll keep him out of this deal. Again, by all reports, it's looking like Evan Fournier, one of Obi, Quickly, or Grimes. But Danny Ainge is wanting more than 2 unprotected picks. Out of the 5, he wants, by all reports, 3 or 4 of them unprotected as well. But I think this deal gets done without RJ as well. Peace, Sanger, salute. M. Riviera, salute. I like this thought too. When thinking with the Lakers getting involved, you hit it with this flip Randle to LA first. We get that pick, and then we could send more to Utah, or basically LA send that straight to Utah. Fam, it's looking like they could get Bogdanovich, Conley, Pat Bev, maybe Cam Reddish. We help them out with that situation, and they help us send a couple of picks to Utah with this. And Quiet says, we don't need to get involved with the Lakers. We don't need them to get Spider. That, I think it's still a safe thing we'd get Spider. But, the Lakers need to do something, and they will do something. They're active. They've got 2 picks to part with, fam. And, reports they want Bogdanovich, Pat Bev, some defense to help them out, those old legs out there that are breaking down in LA. And all reports are for the last year, we've been hearing that they want Cam Reddish as well. So if they're willing to send a pick or 2 to Utah to help us out, this is going to really, I think, make this deal run a bit smoother, I think. And D's World of Hoops says 2 unprotected is the magic number, because you're going to need the rest of the draft capital to bring in that other star / superstar. You hit it. I completely agree with that. Who knows whether Danny Ainge is ever going to agree to that. Talks could stall, could continue. By all reports, he wants at least 3 unprotected with the situation. The conditional picks don't really mean much to Danny Ainge, but we'd love to absolutely get him out of here with that. But I do think, that is a fair deal in terms of 2 unprotecteds with that. They are getting a great young player, or a promising young player. They are getting multiple protected picks as well in this deal, and hopefully they get another one from LA, to help bolster this deal. That obviously get Fournier, which is the salary filler up in there as well. And personally, I would keep the draft capital, ride with Brunson this year and 2023, and get a stud in this draft. Yeah, that's the other side of this thing, fam. The sliding doors moment. If the Knicks don't get this deal done or ride it out, that is something to look forward to with the draft and the prospects in this year. And I'm hopeful that the Knicks at least have one selection in the first round in this upcoming draft, right? Because they could score another great talent with this thing. Obviously, we have the Dallas 2023, and we have our own first round pick this season. With that, but yeah, with this situation, we're in pretty deep now. I'd be very surprised if we don't get Spider, but I'd be okay if we didn't. The sky wouldn't be falling for me. Yep, I'd rock with this squad this year no matter what. Sanger says, yeah, but that sounds like a way to keep RJ at this deal. Yet, speaking in facts there with this situation, these leaks, it's a lot to make of with multiple reports out of nowhere, out of yesterday now coming out that the Jazz want RJ. Some Knicks decision makers would be open to including him in the deal. Now, I'd preface and I'd assume that doesn't mean the Knicks don't like RJ. That doesn't mean that they don't think he has a promising future, all of those things. Well, I think it's more along the lines of drawing a line in the sand and just deciding that, the salary that they have to pay him and the fact that they could lessen the blow, I think, with the picks would be along the lines of that thinking as well. Is RJ Barrett, in their eyes, worth, close to a max or whatever he's going to have to get paid as well? For me, I leave it to the very last minute and I keep RJ and I don't max him until I see what I see this season, and then I give him his money, Yet D says it's almost impossible to trade for a tier 1 star. Donovan Mitchell is not worth the trouble, too expensive for a tier 2 star that's going to need another guy by his side. Yep. There'd be a hell of a lot to figure out, D, as well. Is without Randle here, with Randle here, it's a clunky fit. Absolutely. Maybe they're thinking he's getting Mitchell in here and then, moving the pieces around him, maybe making him the centerpiece and with Jalen, and try to get out of Randle, maybe move Barrett on or see what Barrett can do, and then tool around around Spider. But yeah, I don't like the fit personally with Randle, Spider, and Brunson and RJ. Well, I'm all for getting Mitchell in here, but it's a very, very clunky fit with 4 of those guys that are ball dominant. We need better role players and guys that are comfortable off the ball. I feel like RJ Barrett's max effectiveness is with the ball, and Julius Randle likewise with this situation. Yeah, the Nets couldn't get much for KD for multiple reasons. Facts, right? The age, injury concerns, the personalities, all of that stuff too. But yeah, it was eye-opening, to say the least, fam. Absolutely eye-opening. The fact that the Nets, couldn't get that deal done, even for what they were asking for as well. But hey, they bring it back. Good luck to them. I think a lot's going to have to go right in terms of health for them to win. Randle and Rose equals a pick. Add Cam, then we get 2 picks from LA. Yep, I agree with that. I think LA should be interested in Randle, as a consolation. Randle, Cam Reddish, throw in Rose if they want. If they want him, they could send some of that salary. Utah could send them, some of those players as well. They send out Westbrook, of course, to Utah. Huge salary. Russell Westbrook's 47 mil with that thing. Yeah, where there's smoke, there's LA. They're going to try to get some deals done, fam. Quiet says, I don't think Leon is looking to LA with the mess they've made. Nobody helps us. They've got those 2 picks, so Quiet. I don't know what they want to do with them, but they need help. To the Lakers, they like some of those pieces that Utah got up in here. And if the Knicks trade RJ, I'm done watching them cash out. Loyalty to a T with that situation, right? Man, RJ Barrett, we still haven't really broken the Charlie Ward curse. Technically, I know Mitch re-signed, but a first-round draft selection with this situation, man. Yeah, I can't really imagine what's going to go down if RJ does get traded. But my thoughts are he won't get traded. I don't think it's going to happen. Right? I think it's just talk at the moment. I think the RJ stuff is just talk. The most realistic thing is the Obi, Quickly, Grimes, Fournier, Deuce perhaps, protecteds and unprotecteds with this thing. And if LA gets involved, there's even less likeliness that RJ is in the deal because they could send another pick to Utah with this situation. Yep. Quiet says to cash out, I wouldn't do that if I was you with this situation. And D's World of Hoops, we could definitely be in the sweepstakes with a great lottery pick this year. Just this year, we could have had Tari Eason, Jalen Williams, Jake Lavaria, etc. And next year, there's going to be much, much deeper talent. Yeah, absolutely right. We watched this college season with great attention because, I do think the Knicks, even as currently constructed, will make the play-in. But, with a first-round draft pick, you still got to really pay attention. There's a lot of deeper talent in this draft. Salute Andrew up in here. It's all fun and games until RJ is in the trade, right? Then it gets real serious with this thing, right? And then, the Knicks are playing for keeps. And definitely very seriously want Donovan Mitchell, right, at all costs with this thing. The reason I take this with a grain of salt is because, you look at the way the story starts, it's the word some. Some Knicks decision makers are open to it, right? Not all of them. There's no consensus in this front office, right? We can never really read into, this is what the Knicks are going to do, or this is exactly what they're thinking. Right? You can't really think that or say that with these Knicks, right? The buck stops with Leon Rose. Of course, there's all these other voices, the personalities in the mix as well, which there should be. He's listening to a lot of different opinions up in here. Of course, the interesting thing we know is that the whole front office isn't attached to RJ Barrett. We know that. They weren't here when RJ was selected with this thing. But I just don't see them sending him to Utah. I just don't see that out here. A junior up in here, salute. I think it's best to forget about Mitchell and move on with our current team. Yep. That's a very, very popular take as well among fans, really. Fan bases differing in opinions with this Spider situation. A lot of reasons being the fit, parting with some beloved Knicks, some young Knicks that have great promise. We need to see them, see what they can be. But at the same time, a lot of fan bases want to pull in that all-star, right, and get it happening right now with this thing, right? I'm okay with it if the deal is right. Now, in terms of the reported deal with Evan, either Toppin, Grimes, or IQ, salary, and 2 unprotecteds, I'm okay with that as well. I think there's a reason Ainge rejected that. He could probably squeeze one more thing out of the Knicks as well, hopefully, but no more than that, right? I'm not willing to go too much higher than that, right? With this thing, right? I'm willing to drag this out, Let's see him put his money where his mouth is. Let's start the season. Let's start the season with Brunson, if he continues to play hardball with this thing. Quiet is more looking at RJ's fit, doesn't think it fits. Y'all have to see that with RJ's fit. I don't like his fit with Randle as well, that's for sure, right? And if you bring in Spider here, it's tough. It's definitely tough with this thing. I just have a hard time seeing it happen with RJ being in this deal. Now, they may well move on from RJ in the future. They may re-sign him, and we'll see what happens. But I just don't see him being in this Utah deal. I just don't think it's necessary. I think we could still get Mitchell in here without RJ. And Andrew hits on Obi will be averaging 20 a game soon. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that too, fam, because among the reporting with Mark Berman, as he's been talking on this a while, is that Tom Thibodeau was very sold on Obi's progress, and he's very, very keen to play him big minutes this season, right? So I'm really looking forward to that. If Obi's still a Knick, he should get a lot of burn this season, fam. And yep, 20 a game in his sleep, I think. I'm eager to rid ourselves of Randle so that Obi is off the table for Donovan. Yep. I think he fits much better, fam. It's just a better fit with this thing. Cash out. I'm not believing all the hype. If it happens, then I'll believe it. But trading RJ would be the worst decision ever. This thing, right? I just think, yeah, unnecessary, the trading RJ. Well, I'm not believing all the hype either, fam. Yep, I'm personally not believing in all this RJ hype. Yeah, of course, you get Danny Ainge's honest thoughts. He's going to say, oh, look, I'd like RJ, in terms of the talent, the young talent that the Knicks have, right? He's an asset for Danny. Of course he's going to say that stuff and, build that leverage side of things as well. But the stuff around the Knicks side of things, we know there's no consensus among the Knicks brass. So some Knicks decision makers would be open to it. Well, that doesn't mean that all of them are and that it's going to happen, right? Salute Frederick up in here. Knicks Buzz fam. We got it on lock. The best chat in the biz. Salute. James, if RJ means less picks, let it be. Not that I prioritize picks, but I don't think it's that big of a loss with this thing. I respect that. That is the other side of the coin in terms of if RJ's in this deal, then absolutely, best believe there should be less picks. That could be along the lines of the Knicks thinking as well, man. Thinking, what, RJ, we have hope of what he can be, but it's hope, we got to pay him a lot of money soon. Maybe they're thinking these future draft picks to help us rebuild this team even more are very, very, very important. So the more we can keep, the better we are off, and we bring in Spider and we move out RJ kind of thing. I'm just trying to rationalize what they might be thinking for those that are willing, to part with RJ. Yeah. Canal says Fournier, Grimes, Deuce, Rokas, 3 million, 3 unprotected first for 2 protected first. Gets that shit done with this thing. Fournier, Grimes, Deuce, Rokas, cash, 3 unprotected first and 2 protecteds. Gets that done. Yep. That'd be that as high as I'd willing to go, fam. Well, and yeah, you don't need to keep RJ in this deal with that thing. That should be enough to get it done. 3 unprotected first. He's not getting anything better than that anywhere out here. And Bodega up in here. Salute. What's good? Yeah, agree, Cash. Got to see what RJ about this important 4th year. If it don't work, I flip him for as many assets as possible could get. Yeah, you hit with that. I've given my philosophy on dudes in a rookie contract. I think it's critical you play the chorus and you let guys play out their contract. This is a pivotal 4th year for RJ, and he's going to get paid somewhat anyway. It's just about being completely sold on, is it the max, is it less than the max? Bring him back this year and see what he does. You know what I mean? Players can make that huge leap with a big summer. You need to wait and see with that. Quiet. Yeah, why do you feel the way about RJ? He didn't make an all-star. He didn't make the all-star team yet. He regressed in just about all the efficiency categories. Just quiet. Yeah, look, he's a polarizing player up in here with this situation. Quiet. For me, he was on a situation on a team where he was asked to do a lot, asked to score a lot and defend a lot. The efficiency definitely needs to improve with RJ. There's no question about it. But I think he will improve. He will continue to improve his game. He's not worth the max. Absolutely not right now. But yeah, I think it'd be smart business to bring him back and then let him ball out and play its course with this thing. But James says, yeah, if he's mediocre, we can't really flip him for much. He's high right now, according to James. So with this situation, yeah, his value could be at the highest, in terms of what it is right now in this trade. That is, one thing to consider with this situation. But again, I don't think the Knicks are going to go that far in terms of trading RJ. Right? I'd be really, really shocked if they really, really did this thing with RJ. Like we said, if I combine all the reporting with SNY, Mark Berman, New York Post, there's talk, obviously the deal is starting to take more structure in terms of Evan Fournier. That name's been brought up in all reports. So his name is in the convo. Then they're amenable to either Obi, Grimes, or IQ as well. So you could foreshadow one or two of those, hopefully not two, just one of those guys in the deal. Maybe Deuce, additional salary, Rose, who knows? And then hopefully no more than 2 to 3 unprotecteds, right? And a few protecteds. And hopefully that gets that thing done with this thing. And cash out. The desperate fans are willing to do the trade, whatever for Spider. We just have to have patience with that thing, right? Yep. It's hard, man. Asking Knicks fans that haven't seen a winning team for a long time, right, to have patience. We've been patient for quite a while with this thing, right? I think this Spider deal is inevitable. We just got to be smart as well. I think I agree with what you're saying in terms of we got to do this deal only if it makes sense and do a smart deal with this thing, right? Not force it up in the air, right? No way should we give up 4 unprotecteds, right? KD couldn't even get that. We even have the Utah media acknowledging that fact, right? Spence Checketts of ESPN out in Utah, talking about some of the early reporting was wrong and it was irresponsible with this thing, right? If KD couldn't get 5 first rounders, then there's no way, 4 to 5 protecteds, there's no way that Spider can get that with this thing, right? Brian, salute, what's good? RJ isn't part of the CAA mafia. We'd have to get Bogey as well, right? Yeah, he wasn't part of this regime. That is one thing that does lead me to believe that some members are definitely open to moving RJ with this situation. There isn't that full attachment to him. And I think Spider is their guy. He's definitely CAA. He's an established all-star as well. I just think this is more posturing and talk. And I don't think RJ will end up ultimately being in this deal. Yep. Yep. James says, please don't just insult and curse at people suggesting who is open RJ trade. We're just trying to be real than having too much emotional attachment to him as well. Yep. No, look, fans defend certain players to the end of the earth, and the loyalty's there, the support is there. I respect every fan, in terms of whatever they're attached to. Everyone's different as well, but yet we got to keep it respectful. Definitely, I value everybody's opinion, and we shout you out. And I definitely see both sides of the coin. There's loyalty to the New York Knicks, there's loyalties to certain players. Well, to me, it's just about the Knicks, and the deal just got to make sense with this thing. But there comes a point when you also got to do the best deal and keep these young players out of it. RJ Barrett still got another year to run on his rookie contract. He was drafted by the New York Knicks, and I think we could see a lot more from him, in the 4th year, coming up. But I do, question, I still need to see what his ceiling can be in terms of money that we need to pay him, And that's what I ultimately think it comes down to for this Knicks brass. They want to see RJ, they're looking ahead to sort of see what his ceiling can be. And, is now the right time to cash in, an asset, before having to pay that big salary to him. Well, in this Spider deal gives them that chance, right before they have to do it. But yeah, I just have a hard time seeing it happen, right? I'll be absolutely shocked. And M. Rivera says, I would still ship Rose and Randle to LA, even if the Spider deal doesn't happen. Yep. I think LA are definitely pivoting, fam. They were hoping for KD, Kyrie, and they've definitely left at the altar right now, and they've got to find help ASAP, right? LA need to find that help ASAP. And do they call the Knicks looking for Randle? He is a guy very familiar with them, the West Coast. Julius Randle plays amazing on the West Coast. He looks like an all-star every single time he plays out there. He was in Dallas shouting it out, saying this is my gym up in here. So I think that'd be a really good fit both ways for Julius and LA. With this thing, they're also interested in pieces from Utah, Bogdanovich, Pat Bev, things like that. So yeah, LeBron James, the GM, he's looking to make some moves out here, right, to improve that situation. But yeah, fam, I agree with Randle. His fit in LA would be nice. Yeah, and even if the Spider deal doesn't happen, we need to free up minutes for Obi if he's on this roster still as well. Quiet says Obi was the first one they offered to Utah. Tibbs was capping about playing Obi with this thing. You know, Leon, Leon's part of this thing too, fam. But yeah, Danny Ainge might like what he really sees in Obi too. In terms of, you got to think about, he was the highest selected pick out of Quickly, Grimes, and Obi. Yeah, Danny rejected the deal, but all reports are it was about the picks and not getting enough unprotected picks up in this thing. I've made my thoughts clear. I'd love to keep Obi around and keep Grimes around. And I love IQ. I love his game. I love to, hopefully he stays a Knick. But he makes the most sense to me out of those three guys. But yeah, man, if Obi's in this deal, that means they're seriously thinking about a world with Julius Randle moving forward. And that had me surprised, I'm being honest. Given what we saw from Randle last season, to show that kind of loyalty, that's a lot. That's a lot of loyalty, not going to lie. To think that they might want to move forward with Randle instead of Obi after what we saw, yeah, I really don't know. Really don't know what to believe with all of this going on right now. So, like I said, every report, usually out of a lot of reports, only, less than 10% is, happen, is true. Well, there's 95%, 90% is stuff that never happens in terms of real trade talks and rumors. So, you got to take some things with a grain of salt, even if they are reported from very credible guys, right? Because the talks are still ongoing, negotiations are still happening, and we don't really know what the end deal is going to ultimately end up looking like with this thing. Yeah, Brian, salute. What's good? RJ may have to go. We can't have 4 players making over the 100 milli and not be championship contenders. Well, yep. There is certainly the chemistry and the fits to consider with this thing. Ball dominant guys, the shooting is a concern. So many lefties. This thing, I hear you with that. Billy Goat, sorry, but I am trading RJ for Donovan and Fournier and less picks. Grimes gives you RJ's production. So Billy Goat, salute on the Grimes train with this thing, right? That goes back to what I said earlier in this show. The connection between Leon Rose with Grimes is there, right? He's a Leon Rose selection. So they are incredibly high on Quentin Grimes. Have not really been hearing Grimes' name in this deal. And by all reports, they could be trying to keep him out of this deal at all costs with this thing, right? The Grimes train went up a notch with Summer League with this thing. It's me, salute. The RJ haters represent Knicks fans that don't prioritize development. They'd rather low IQ mental cases up in ears. Salute, it's me. Yeah, certainly there's been a trend throughout the organization in terms of not prioritizing the development, as well. I also understand the lack of patience some Knicks fans have because they haven't seen, winning in a long, long time as well. But they're also, I think, where I sit in the middle is that people are right to question RJ's ceiling. It's unknown at this point. Does he achieve his full ceiling or not? So I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think you could try to cash in an asset thinking it's at its peak value. It might not be. It might continue to grow and ascend and go through this roof. It's like a stock. When is the right time? When is the correct time to sell a stock? With RJ Barrett, to me, I think it's premature to get off of him too soon because he has one more year left. That gives you time. Time is on your side in terms of figuring out what this player is going to be. And like I said, I ultimately think this deal can get done without him. So I don't feel like there's a need to have him in this deal with this thing. Hard Will, what's good, fam? Salute. Let's get your thoughts on this situation, right? Yep. D's World of Hoops says absolutely. You got to let them play through the rookie contracts because a lot of guys do get better and better and better. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You got to consider, if you're banking on RJ, you're considering his ascending nature, you're considering his upside, you're considering his pedigree, intangibles, a lot of things. But I do get the conundrum of paying him, how much you're going to pay him, all of those specifics, right? And Harlem Girl in the house, salute to the chat. Everybody buzzing out here, right? What off season, right? Man, the New York Knicks, this ain't no off season right now. I don't feel like it right now. Got everybody buzzing with this thing. Now, of course, I will say this, and we all know we're smart fans, right? Everybody got an agenda, right? Think about every leak report, the timing of a story, all of those things. Agents got stake at hand, right? Everybody has an agenda. So you got to think about this when reports get leaked, right? Certain members of the Knicks front office might not be high on RJ. They might be the ones to leak stories out to say some members of the organization aren't high on RJ, right? But that don't mean that everybody's not high on him as well. So yeah, you got to take a lot of things into consideration. Who leaks things out, to these reporters, the timing of it all, what do they have to gain, what do they have to lose, all of these things, right? But all we could do is use our, what we've seen over the years, the trends, and know what goes on around the league, how this business works. It's a business at the end of the day, right? Agent Bill Duffy for RJ, he wants RJ in a situation where he's going to get paid the max and he's going to have a franchise to put on his back and have the biggest role, all of those things. So, you got to think of things from everybody's perspective. RJ's agent wants the best for him as well. So, nobody's out of this situation in terms of, having something to gain or lose, right? Brian says, what's the preference in a Mitchell deal? We trade Obi, IQ, Grimes, or we trade RJ and one pick? Definitely the first deal. The deal Danny Ainge reportedly rejected. I sit on that for a minute. I think 2 unprotected picks, 3 protected is pretty good. If he doesn't want Obi, I give him Grimes. Well, and I keep Obi with that situation. That's me. CAA, welcome, salute, what's good? Yep. Billy Goat, if Pat gives up a better package, nobody will call him desperate with this thing. It's me. It took Randle 7 years to become that all-star. But let's move the highest pick since Ewing with this thing. That is the side of the patience that we'll have, fam. Also, those that are high on RJ and want to keep him, tell me a number that you're comfortable with paying him as well, personally, because that is the decision at hand. Like I said, Knicks brass that might want to move on from Randle, from RJ. It might not be about RJ, the player, or all of that, or his ceiling. It could just be the amount of financial commitment, and that factor in with that. Yep. Yeah, salute out here, everyone buzzing. Quiet says, I think a lot of you guys got to better brace yourself for this trade because when it comes to players that we drafted, the fan base is definitely biased with this thing, right? Parish, salute, appreciate you. Hey, man, I think the Knicks need to move either Randle or RJ because they play the same way. Good offensively, ball dominant, but low assist guys, right? Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there, Parish, salute. 2 guys are with a clunky fit. They're not willing to share the rock as much. Obviously, I think RJ is more willing to share the rock a bit than Randle. to me, I keep going back to the LA thing. That just makes the most sense for Randle. I think out here, the West Coast, give LA Randle, pair him up with AD and LeBron. Well, give them Cam Reddish even. Let them move 2 picks to Utah, and then we get to keep a whole lot of things out of this deal. We get to keep more unprotecteds out of the deal. We open the floor up more for RJ, Brunson, and Spider, and Mitchell Robinson to cook with this thing, right? Yeah. So yeah, that'd be my package with that situation, fam. CAA hits. If Randle has a good first half, someone would give up a first for him. If Cam shows out, Cam is also worth another first. Grimes and IQ can also get you first round picks. Yep. I think the front office definitely is looking towards the future in terms of post Spider deal, fam. What they can keep out of this deal means that they're going to have more to play with in the future. Think about that, for a second. Salute Tone. What's good, fam? Let's get it with this thing, right? The whole fan base, the world buzzing over this Knicks talk, right? Now this KD thing's played out. Look at all these wolves, these reporters and everyone alike getting on board with the Knicks talk with this thing, right? We're set to make the biggest splash now of the off season. I think when Spider becomes this Knick, now it's just posturing. It's back and forth. New York reports, Utah reports, LA wanting a piece of us, all of these things. Truth is, the reason I also see a LA deal getting involved is because let's not forget about what Utah have to accomplish, right? It's not just about us. Utah have salary, veteran salary that they need to get rid of. They need to get rid of Pat Bev, Bogdanovich, Conley, right? If they're trying to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish by moving on from Spider, they also need to get out of these vets, right? So it's got to happen with this situation. And I do see the Lakers, being able to take on these veterans. They'll give them Russ Westbrook's expiring, and that's great for them. They're trying to lose games. Russ can be out there, jack up as many shots as he needs, for 1 year, or buy him out even with this thing, right? Yep. So CAA's best deal, if they take Fournier, IQ, 3 unprotecteds, 5 total, I'm pulling that trigger, right? Yep. I'd prefer to keep it at 2, but if you're just giving up IQ and Fournier, I'd be willing to go 1 more like that. Yep. And that might be wishful thinking as well, like what D's saying. M. Rivera likes that deal. Yep. So if Kyrie not going to LA, then who is? Yep, it's me. Great question. That is the big elephant in the room now, because LeBron got 2 picks. The GM told LA, I'm willing for you to give up these 2 picks to help me get some pieces, and it's going to happen. I think they really like Cam Reddish. They like what Utah's got in terms of some veterans. Those 2 picks could be really, really helpful for the New York Knicks. And Knicks probably thought a lottery pick and 2 unprotected get it done. But Ainge wants our 2027 unprotected pick, man. That's tricky out there. Yeah, that's ways away. But, if I'm the Knicks, you got to start thinking about more of the now with this Spider deal. And we'd still have picks to burn, still picks to maneuver with. Well, but we're probably not looking at a lottery pick with this thing. We're looking at those conditional picks that we're probably gonna keep out of this thing. Yep. James says, enlighten me. What is RJ efficient at? 3-point shooting? No. Finishing? No. Mid range? No. Handles? No. Free throw? No. Elite D? No. The moment. I'm actually not as low on RJ shooting. I think the shooting's going to come along with this thing. The handle needs to improve. The free throw shooting needs to improve with this situation. High usage guy as well. But, we also need to focus on some of RJ's strengths as well, which is, he's picking up steam, getting to the cup, getting to the rack. I think he has high upside with playmaking. as well. But he's certainly not there yet. He's far from a complete product with this thing, right? And that's got the whole league scratching their head right now in terms of what do you pay him, with this draft class. And that's why I said you make it easy for yourself. You bring RJ back. Why force your hand when you don't need to? You don't need to pay him yet. So bring him in, let him rock out this season, give him a heap of touches, let him take final shots of the game, get all that rust going out, and and let RJ show you what he's worth, this season, and cash out. That was a negotiation tactic. Leon knew it. Danny wouldn't take that deal with Obi. It was only two unprotecteds, right? Leon is a smart businessman. Yeah. It was negotiation, right? You always start as low as possible, fam. Then you work your way up if needed. I think if needed, right? These World of Hoops, can Grimes give you RJ's production? Damn, jury's still out on that. Yep. Agree. Yep. Grimes, great upside. We need to see it. We need to see more of that, fam. Yeah, it's me. Appreciate you that as well. Got the chat buzzing. Hit that like button. Let's continue to rock out with this talk. CAA, IQ's role will diminish absolutely the most with Spider arrival on the team. The front office doesn't see IQ as a point guard. They don't see him as a starter. That, Bill Pito said to me, because we're paying Brunson, we're paying Spider. So you don't see IQ as a starter. So I love IQ, but he's got to be in this trade. You're telling me, what are you going to do? Keep IQ as a bench player for the rest of his career? Why not keep Obi? Why not keep Grimes? They could be starters on your team. Even with Spider and Brunson, they could be starters, but IQ can't be a starter with Brunson and Spider here. So, yeah, that to me just makes the most sense, I think. Emery Vera, RJ getting you 15 boards, but Grimes cannot do that thing. Quiet says, I've been trying to tell you, CT and other fans, that you can't read too much into what goes on in the NBA because there's a lot of things that are not allowed to know. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of reporters keeping things close to their vest, right? Getting paid, back channels, all of those things. And if RJ gets his efficiency up, he's better than Grimes, right? Easily with this thing. It would be unfortunate if that is true, that RJ expects the max of 185. If it is true, he's in the trade eventually. It's Parrish, right? Like I said, go back to his agent, Bill Duffy, right? He's on the clock. An agent needs to do their job to try to get their client to pay the most they could possibly get them. If RJ's not going to be the number one in New York, you got Brunson, you'd have Spider, you'd have Randle, right? What does that mean for RJ's role in terms of his eyes and his agent's eyes? And if he's not going to be the number one or number two option, he's damn well going to want the max. He's going to want one or the other. He's going to want a huge role, or he's going to want the most money he can possibly get. But most likely both of those, well, from his agent perspective anyway. Yep. D's World of Hoops says he was only efficient 1 year, and that's when he was the 3 to 4th guy in the Cinderella year. And Billy says he's going into his 4th year, is barely better than Grimes in year 1. Grimes better shooting and a defender right now. Facts. That thing, right? Grimes definitely had a better first year in a smaller sample size, I feel like, in terms of that. But I'm not sleeping on RJ's, growth, RJ's upside as well. But yeah, for me, players grow at different paces, different speeds. For me, I bring RJ back, let him play his 4th year as a Knick. Right? Again, we need to give somewhat development attention with this organization. We can't just keep trading our first-round draft picks. And I know this Spider deal's a big deal. It's huge, for this organization. To me, just pull the deal off and keep RJ out of it. Yeah. And Quiet hits on also as facts too. The Knicks have never been about developing. Well, that hasn't worked out too well for us. Well, but yeah, I see the points with Tibbs here, with Leon, needing to get things done, right? They absolutely need to get things done. Yeah, and it won't be changing anytime soon, right? Absolutely, right? CAA, we can trade with the Lakers separately. They'd take Fournier or Rose with Randle for that other unprotected pick, but Obi can't go if this happens. No, absolutely keep Obi. Yep, I like Obi's fit. You got to think about this modern NBA, ladies and gents, right? Players that can play well with the ball and play well without the ball as well are very, very, very valuable, right? He's not a high usage guy, Obi, but he can impact the game in other ways, right? He can get up and down the floor. He's a mismatch at 6'9", runs the court great, plays above the rim as well. Good looks with the oops, with IQ, chemistry. He's likable. He's got great work ethic as well. So again, my philosophy is keep guys on their rookie contract, then make your evaluations, and then decide what you want to do with them with this situation. But yeah, to me, IQ's the odd man out with these undersized guards up in there, right? Salute Eddie, what's good? Fam, what's good? This thing is absolutely buzzing right now. Yet we need to find a way to get the Lakers 27 pick unprotected in this deal. I like the way you're thinking. Giving up our own 27 pick. And if this doesn't work, it'd be trouble, right? Yeah, if it doesn't work, right, best believe it's going to come back to haunt with that. That's what got me thinking Danny Ainge wants these picks as far into the future as possible, fam. With this situation, does Danny Ainge up in here? And the front office does love Grimes. Facts D. I don't see him going anywhere. Yep. I think all of this talk, if any, about the RJ talk is about trying to keep Grimes out the deal too. This is very possible how it could have played out. It could have been like Leon gives that deal. He's like, no, I want Grimes in the deal. Then Leon's like, no, Grimes is absolutely not in the deal. Then Danny's like, all right, why isn't RJ Barrett in the deal? So a bit of back and forth, some Grimes love, some RJ love on the other side. Well, it's all negotiation right here, right? Johnny, salute. What's good, fam? Brunson, ripple effect. This idea of not to make a run at the ship because we're not there yet, run at the chip. Yeah, I think somebody thinks we can. Yeah, the Brunson ripple effect. Yeah, this idea and not to make a run at the chip because we're not there yet. You think somebody thinks we can. I think somebody thinks we can. Yeah, look, with this, we're not close to a chip, I don't feel. But we're heading in the right direction, which is most important. And keeping some of these assets out of this deal to build around the guys that are left is critical with this thing. And that's why I said this Donovan thing, it's not anything close to a Melo deal, right? When we got Melo, we had absolutely hardly any room to move, to make any future moves. If we could hold some young players and some unprotected picks out of this Donovan deal, we got more assets to pull off big years out here. It's me says 5 years, 135 is a reasonable deal for a star J Barrett up in the air, right? Danny, salute. I think Brunson is enough. He'll help us improve everyone's game, right? That's the other important thing, fam. Keeping him, this season, rocking out with this squad to see what Brunson can do. His impact is going to be phenomenal, right? He's my pick to get the Knicks at least 6 more wins up in there. I think the Knicks finish around 42, 43 wins at least with Brunson up in there, right? Hard will, 8 seasons of Randle, still had the worst season. Then a third year RJ and Randle hit this ceiling. RJ's still going to get better. Yep, definitely he's going to get better. Now, is he going to be a number one? I don't see him being a number one, but he could grow to be a number 2. Definitely, right? We all know what he's capable of with the ball in his hands, right? on a team with great spacing, with other great players, I think RJ can eat up in here, right? Yeah, killer dogs, what's good? With the Knicks' luck, we get rid of RJ and then get Mitchell, and then RJ turns into an all-star. Then Mitchell starts to regress because high-flying dunkers' knees don't last too long. That's looking at it from the past of the Knicks and our bad luck with this situation. The thing is, the Spider thing is 26 years old. He'd still have hopefully a great career ahead with the Knicks. But yeah, if RJ goes and he ends up becoming something great, then that's going to be insane. I can't imagine what's going to happen with that. Yeah, CAA also hits on Fournier, IQ, McBride, 3 unprotecteds with 5 in total. Leon, get it done. IQ gets rid of that logjam at the guard posse, and Grimes is better at the 2 in this situation, right? So yeah, there's a lot of back and forth. And also, I will say this. I think the fact that we're talking about more particulars about this deal tells me it's getting closer and closer to happening. Before, details weren't getting leaked out, fam, about this deal, who's in it, who's not in it, Fournier, salary filler, picks, all of those things. We're really, really getting closer to these negotiations and the posturing going back and forth with leaks that, a GM rejected this deal, or, this other president wants to only include this piece. Well, that's really getting close to the petty side of this negotiation. But we are getting closer to a deal getting done. In my opinion, we are getting closer to this thing, and I could see it happening in the next week, at least. Probably no sooner than another week, but wouldn't be surprised. If it's just one more week with this thing, right? Bodega hits that RJ hasn't achieved any milestone to get the max. He has to make his free throws to even have that convo. That situation yet. 3 years in the league, there's still a lot more he can show with this thing. But yeah, he hasn't shown enough to get a full max. Right, absolutely. That's just not prudent business to give him a full max right now. But like I said, bring him back in his 4th year and let him earn his money. And Hardwell says, I'm not saying that he does what he deserves, but he's going to get better with this thing, right? Yeah. That you can bank on. It's about the convo with RJ is about his ceiling. I feel like, fam. Yeah, I think it's about his ceiling and who thinks he can reach what and all this kind of thing as well. Yeah, Danny, we should tell Ainge our final offer: take it or leave it, because I'm okay with these kids. They seem like good guys. They want to be here, and the floor general we got now will fix a lot of these issues. Yeah. Even with Randle, Danny. I like your points. Are you happy with Randle still, with this mix with RJ, Randle, Spider, and RJ, Randle, and Brunson with this thing? This season's going to tell us a lot. Yeah, Eddie, there are business consequences for not being on an all-rookie or a rising stars team. Fair or not, it is part of this deal, right? Yep. You know what? Yeah, a lot of the money you earn on your second contract is over the first 4 years, 3-4 years, right? You have your chance to earn your bread during those years, definitely. Yep. Big fan Breezy, what's good? Kyrie staying in Brooklyn. Yep, that was big news. What are your thoughts on that situation? I think that's a lot of the noise around the league is going to start happening now, because all that stuff holding things up now. And I look forward to these battles with you guys. The 2 games at Barclays are national games. The 2 at the Garden are MSG. Yep. Got this thing buzzing. Danny, salute, fam. CAA says Spider led his team offensively to the playoffs every year. That's facts. RJ career will end up with half the accolades Spider will finish with. But let's be honest, an elite 3-level scorer outweighs an inefficient 2-way guy with that thing. Certainly Spider's achieved a heck of a lot more right now, facts. I'm just thinking also that RJ does, just by pure negotiating, doesn't need to be in this deal, unless these reports get louder, of course. If Danny Ainge says, no, I'm just absolutely not doing this deal with not RJ in it, that's when you start to really think that these reports are coming out for a reason now. Well, yeah, appreciate you, D. Have a great day. Salute. And CAA says, Leon, worst move so far is paying Randle before his time. Yep, you're waiting on RJ, but just handed Randle the bag with a year left on his contract. Shake my head. That's coming, you know what? In terms of the contract wasn't awful with the number, but the timing of it was bad. You're right. We would have had so much more flexibility now if Randle was coming off the books, right? That'd be facts. Yeah, H Diggs, what's good? Salute. Parrish, from what I'm hearing from the Knicks side of the rumors, they are trying to increase the basketball acumen. Grimes, Obi are team players, heads up, complementary guys who think the game well. Yeah. They think the game well, but their biggest asset to me, Parrish, chat, is that they play well without the ball. Well, Grimes is a threat when on the court, no matter what. Obi is a threat on the court, no matter what, whether he has the ball or he doesn't. With this thing, yet facts hard. We rushed to pay Randle a lot. Big mistake with that, right? Now we're looking at trying to get out. The LA Lakers could be, our hope up in the air with this thing. Salute. Yep, he's been playing in front of the fans his entire career. And what has he done his entire career? Stop with the Randle chatter. Cash out with that. Yep. With that said, Randle plays his best ball on the West Coast. I'm just saying, I think he's comfortable there. That's where he's from. Big D in LA. He plays great. He plays great out here. I don't think Randle's a hateable guy to me. I could forgive him for what happens if he comes out and, plays team ball, plays hard defensively. I could look past what happened. But he certainly ain't our number one, right? He needs to get that out of his head, right? If he cannot adjust to playing with other superstars, then I want Randle the heck out of here as well, because he's not going to be our number one. I don't want him anywhere near being the number one role in the future as we try to get closer to a championship. He needs to accept a role that he could be, the number one on certain nights, but not the number one going forward with this team, right? He needs to know how to pass more, less isolation, all of that, and not too many of these step back contested threes. We need more efficiency. And that's the thing about RJ and Randle. They could be high scorers, volume scorers, but inefficient. We need efficiency. Donovan Mitchell ain't the most efficient scorer as well, but he's dynamic with the ball, dynamic handles and penetration out here. Drip more in the house. Salute. What's good? Danny says, does anyone think this trade can happen today? Man. That'd shock me. But certainly today we could hear the next leak in this saga that leads to this deal happening very, very soon. But like I said, I predicted, Danny, I think 1 week's time. The earliest this deal should happen could be 1 week's time, and could stretch out even more, right? Who knows with this thing, right? A lot of conflicting reports. And as good as Grimes D is, I do not want my wing being 6'5" next to Brunson and Spider. If RJ leaves, then Cam has to start. I'm glad you brought that up, fam. That is reported as well, that there is concerns with the size. Mark Berman suggested that the Knicks like RJ at the 3 opposed to Grimes due to his 6'7" size. So, yeah, it's interesting. They're finding hard to keep Grimes out of the deal, but Grimes is traditionally a small forward, shooting guard at 6'5". So, you're going to suffer with that with length. Knicks will be 26 champs. What's good? You have to get rid of either Randle or RJ because they can't play well together yet. You hit with that? I think it's got to be Randle. with this thing. I think it's going to be Randle in LA. That looks like the most plausible thing in this three-way deal, because I'm not seeing people lining up to take Randle right now. You could definitely bring him in the season, let him ball out, repair his value with this thing. Yep. It's me. Ooh, RJ and Aiton are both repped by Bill Duffy. Yep. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of connections around the league, fam, with this. Quickly, we'll get D Rose's minutes. Yeah, I think D Rose should be coming towards the end of his Knicks career. Tibbs loves Quickly a lot. He does. And as much as D Rose as a Knick, Tibbs' love for D Rose is all cap now. It's a young man's game. Parrish, yep. I think with this situation, we need Rose if Quickly's gone. But if Quickly's here, then we don't really need Rose as well. So, yep, one, not the other with that. I think with those two. And Danny, what do you think? What do I think Cam's ceiling is? If he's a starter, what do you think he can average? Great question, Pam. So, his ceiling is definitely all-star. Cam's ceiling is all-star. Now, a lot of things have to happen. You have to stay healthy. You got to play consistent minutes, stretch. But on this team, he could be a solid starter. I think, small forward. Hypothetically, we lose Grimes. RJ's still around, but we need a lengthy three, a guy that can play 3 or 4. Let's say Obi's in the deal, Randle stays, then Cam can get minutes, at the 4 as well. So I think solid starter, and you could average 18 a night easily. You could average 18 a night with 30 plus minutes with this thing. Salute Kaiser. What's good? Yep. Don't use RJ in this deal. He can get us another star down the road on an expiring contract with less capital. Ainge wants with all these picks because Spider has 3 years left. Yep. Yeah, completely agree, fam. We don't need to put RJ in this deal. Malik, salute. Well, yep. Barrett ain't going, I don't think, in this deal. This right now. I think this is talk. This is posturing up in here, right? Paul, salute. RJ is a third pick. He has to be featured. That doesn't mean he is a better player than Grimes as well. Just because he's the third pick, he has to be featured. That doesn't mean he's a better player than Grimes. I think they're both on their different tracks too. Grimes, you need to evaluate for a few more years, and RJ is at his end of his 3rd year with this thing. Now, of course, RJ needs the ball a lot to be effective. Quentin Grimes doesn't need the ball to be effective as well, but his effect on the game, might not be as much as RJ with the ball. So yeah, 2 different players. One tells me that only one of those guys is gonna be around long term with that thing, right? Similar positions, similar size with that. Geraldine, good morning, salute. What are your thoughts on this? Let's get it. And CA says Spider is currently outplaying his contract. Randle or RJ has to go to build a contender. We can't have all your money on this starting 5. Yep. Yes, look, Randle's deal is pretty friendly in terms of the salary and collective bargaining that's going to go up. But I have doubts over Randle's fit with other stars. That's my concern with this thing, right? With his mentality and his ball dominance with this thing. Malik says, let Barrett go, and the following year, everyone will be mad they let him go. That could, definitely play out with this situation, right? Yeah. Lakers 27 picks is gold, right? LeBron could be out the league. Yeah, absolutely, fam. We need to get a hold of that, right? Pudge nice in the house. Salute. What's good? Randle's a roast beef sandwich up in here, right? Well, he's come in great shape. Like I said, I could forgive Randle for last season, but he ain't no number 1 on this situation, right? Hard wheel 20-10, no playoffs before the COVID season is obvious. what he is, or first All-Star. Yeah. And Billy says the trade happens Labor Day weekend when Utah can then move the T-Wolves players, right? Or close to Labor Day weekend with this thing, right? Yep, thinking bigger picture with this thing. King Puppy, salute. I just hope the front office knows what they are doing. Yeah, they know. I think they know, fam. There's a reason negotiations are going on this long. I think, they are waiting for the right price, the right deal to play out as well. I'm happy we're not giving up 4 unprotecteds. Absolutely happy with that. We need more unprotecteds for the future to, to continue to build this thing and, and have flexibility moving forward. Yet we could just make a team with the New York natives already. We've got Brunson Obi from Brooklyn, RJ's mum from New York, and Spider from New York. Right? Yet the most New York connections were had in ages, as long as I can remember. So yeah, that's great. Roots in New York. Salute. P nice. Randle might be staying. Yeah, that's looking like it's a real possibility up in here. I personally hope that the Lakers call us. Want to get a piece of this thing as well. Wouldn't mind taking Bogdanovich. He'd be a nice fit if we're sending Randle to LA up in here. Randle and RJ play well to build leads, but they're inefficient closers, right? Yet their isolation games aren't great, Parrish. At the end of the day, that's what you're getting Spider Mitchell for, right? That's what the league is, fam. It's dynamic guard play, isolation, dudes that can get you a bucket, when the clock's dwindling, your Jason Tatums, KDs, Paul Georges, those kind of guys that can go all in and get you a bucket. That's what we're paying for Spider, I think. Randle and RJ haven't quite proven that yet. But like you said, they're good during the course of a game, leading before to that, I think. Yeah. Quiet says, for the record, I don't even think that he's all that good, but he sure as hell has been the best player we've had since Melo. It's me. If we don't give RJ 135 in October, I guarantee the RJ haters will be even sicker when he hits the market. Ask Phoenix. Yeah. And then you got to pay him more with that. Yeah, you're rolling the dice, definitely, right? Yeah, and good point, CAA. With the New York natives, they can handle the smoke. Randle from Dallas is not quite used to this, right? Get him out of here, coach. Paul wants RJ out of here for Scotty Barnes, right? Toronto would love to get themselves a native Canadian, but I don't quite think they're going to part with Scotty Barnes, fam. Yeah, I love that, but I don't think they were willing to part with him for KD, even with this thing. Yeah. C Mac, what's good? I agree. Randle's extension was one of the worst moves in Knick history. With that, I think it was a lot of emotion in it. Well, he balled out. We know what he did. It was crazy up in here, and it was just a year too early, unfortunately. Right, timing is everything in this league, right? And great points too. The problem ain't solely with Randle's game. It's that he thinks he's better than what he is, right? You're a 6'9" big body. Either pop or get to the rim. We don't want you with the rock, shooting step backs, middies, contested shots, all of that. Yep. Fizdale messed with him. He wanted to put on for the city, fam. He was our consolation when we missed out on Kyrie, we missed out on KD. And when this is what happens. You pay the price as a GM when you bring in a dude like that and you say, hey, the ball's yours. You have a green light. Do whatever the hell you want. That comes back on you. A player that's a third or second option needs to stay a second or third option. And if they're doing all sorts of, clownish stuff, you need to rein them in. Well, we should have just played more team ball with this thing, right? And let him get into that habit, like we did have a star on the team, so he'd be ready to make that transition, when we do. I think, yeah, still Dre in the house, salute. Yeah, we definitely did rush to pay him, but he's not paid like a top player. That is the saving grace up in here. Yeah, the trade won't happen until the Jazz can move Pat Bev and Beasley. If this trade happens, it'll be after Sep first up in this thing, right? Which is soon. Yeah, it's definitely soon, right? Yeah, Eric, no way we let RJ go. He's part of the puzzle. These are just rumors that go away. I think they're a little bit more than rumors. And in terms of, there are some dudes in the front office that would trade RJ, but it's not the consensus, which is the most important thing, right? These guys are just trying to get some stories out there to say that the Knicks brass ain't solely on board, but it doesn't make sense, is the truth. It doesn't make sense to have RJ in this deal at all. Yeah, yeah, we do. Hard Will understands the point, but he's trying to prove that he can be a number one, and he should have made his teammates better, well, which would have made him look better as well with Randle. Yeah, and Grimes is small. Every day he gets taller by word, but not in reality. He's not a three, says Eddie. That's the limitations, unfortunately, fam. And unfortunately, when you score a bargain with the 25th pick, there has to be some reservations with that. That is the unfortunate side of things, and that is Grimes' size. If Grimes was a 6'6", 6'7" guy, he would have gone much higher in the draft. I think, we would have been sitting on something crazy good with that thing. But yeah, great points. You guys are spitting knowledge with this thing. It got to make you think. We keep Grimes out the deal. You got Brunson, Spider. Can you play Grimes as your three? Right? Maybe Grimes is a guy that's just off the bench as well, just like IQ. So maybe you got to trade him. Maybe you got to trade him in the deal, and you keep Obi. You keep Obi out. But you know what? I think they think Grimes can be a bigger piece in a trade maybe in the future. And all reports are they've put Obi in the deal with Fournier in their proposal with additional salary and 5 firsts, just 2 protected. So 2 unprotected and 3 unprotected. So that is the latest deal that Danny Ainge rejected up in the air, right? But I think we are getting closer to a deal taking place. Damn, I can feel it. D-Ra, salute, peace. Eric says RJ has more upside than Randle for sure, but no comparison with this thing. Yet Paul, speaking to the Grimes thing, Grimes is only a 2 with this thing. In this dynamic league with length, man, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt him, hurt us. But you know what? He's still stocky. He's still thick. Pause. And he could still hold his own. He could hold his own defensively, which is what you like. It ain't just the size in the dog. It's the fight in the dog with that situation. So, Grimes still a great piece to hold on to. I hope we do. Billy, great point. Bron will make Randle a champion in LA. Helps AD in the paint as well. Yep. He'll do a lot of dirty work for AD, rebounding, pushing it up the floor, all of that stuff. Right. Yeah, it just seems like the best fit out here, right? With what we're trying to build. With Brunson, Spider, RJ. Enough touches for them to go around. But with Randle, it's a bit tough with this thing, right? Malik says it'll happen in September as well, after Pat Bev can be traded, especially if that's the 3-team deal. They could be done as separate deals as well, fam. Let's say, we do all the trade, we do it, and, we send them Fournier for Spider, and then let's say LA still send them Westbrook, Well, then they send them Pat Bev and the other salaries. I'm pretty sure that could still work separately with this thing. And I do not think Randle is a true number one option. No, absolutely not. With that, he did his best impressions. That's for sure. Salute. DeRas, what's in your coffee? Up in here. What's going on, man? Big Oso, salute. What's going on, man? Appreciate you rocking with us. Streets are buzzing. Let's get it. And Iconoclast 6, what's good? Trading for Mitchell, having 4 left-handed ball dominant players makes no sense. Up in here, yeah. You're right, man. I think Randle is a dude that's got to go out of that situation. RJ can fit as the 3 and Obi can slide in as the 4. Well, I like that lineup of Brunson, Spider, RJ, Obi, and Mitchell Robinson. I think that roster fits more better as well with each guy's strength. Enough touches to go around, players that can fit in different positions in the court. Yeah, all of those things, right? Frank Marto, salute. Let's get it. Appreciate you. Yeah, Paul says, yeah, trade RJ for a right hand. Yeah, CAA, Leon has to force Ainge to take Randle back if he wants more unprotected. Would ya go to 3 or 4 if we get Randle's contract out of here? I'd go 3 for sure, fam. I'd go 3. I don't think Randle's no sunken cost, so I don't think 4 unprotected is worth doing that. And that also helps us keep a couple, like I said, for future moves. But 3, yeah, I'd go as high as 3 with this thing, fam. Cash out. All I'm saying is this team will play better and does play better when Obi is on that floor. It's just statistical facts. Obi keeps the ball moving. Yep, he moves better and he makes quick decisions. Yep, gets the D on a string. Yep, completely agree with that. It got me really, really surprised why Obi was in this proposal first up. They must be just so high on Grimes, which is easy to see, and they must be super high on IQ. Obviously, we know Tom Thibodeau loves him, and Worldwide Wes loves him as well. Yep. Hard will, that's a fact that other NBA stars like RJ, some of you don't play ball. So if NBA stars say he's going to be good and they play against him, I also can see that myself. Right. Yeah, great points there too. Hard will. Yet Miami paying homage. A lot of stars around the league like what they saw with RJ Barrett and his future. Well, I just want to bring him back for his 4th year, right? To see him continue to grow with this thing. And Big Ozo, if we trade RJ, it's going to be the same as the Melo trade. We need to keep Brunson and RJ. You also keep youth. You don't limit yourself with a timeline, I think, with this thing, right? With RJ's age, he's another block to continue to build with, right? You know what I'll say as well? With the situation with the CBA, the CBA starting to get up there. If you pay RJ's deal, it may not even necessarily end up looking like a big deal, is what I'm trying to say, right? With the cash going up and all of this situation, right? And Paris says, I want fans to study all of Donovan Mitchell's highlights. If you look carefully, all of his dunks and explosive moves are from 2 to 3 years ago. The Monty Show pointed that out. And if it's true, and it's true with this thing, right? So what are you saying? You're saying he's less explosive now from what we've been seeing? Yep. And Geraldine says, what's wrong with Tibbs wanting to trade RJ to keep Grimes? His job is to coach, not to make personnel decisions. If anyone goes, Tibbs needs to go. Yep. You've been very, very consistent with that. He definitely shouldn't meddle in this situation, right? Mike Boy Up in here, salute. Do the deal already. Yep, we're getting closer. I feel like it. Yep. Quiet says, I just know I tried to give everybody a heads up before everything went down. This thing. Appreciate you. It's me. The real news yesterday was Durant isn't going anywhere. Anything else was fluff. Yep. Yeah, it's me. That's why we hit on too with Spence Checketts out there in ESPN Utah. He hit on the fact that Durant couldn't even get, more than 5 picks. 4 of them were protected. So that tells me the market ain't what it is for Donovan, right? That's facts. All this smoke that they went to Washington, Charlotte, all this narrative that they have other deals that they like. Yeah, they might like them, but they ain't close to the New York Knicks deals. Let's keep that real, right? Soulfinger 12, salute. What's good? I'd do RJ for Scotty Barnes right now. If we have Spider on this team, damn, that's a dream wing player. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Sign me up for that. Yet the Raps are keeping Barnes straight up in here, right? Tone Wu, we says we extended Randle to move off his contract. When the time comes, his contract will easily be tradable, in my opinion, especially with the cap going up. Yep, facts, right? And the more the years go by, too. I just think he just had a bad year, too, which didn't help his value. But it could be easily corrected up in this thing, right? He's a 2010 dude. Yep, he's absolutely a 2010 dude. And with his head screwed on, he's a problem out there on the court. He still demands a double team. If the shooting can maybe not be what it was in the pandemic, but it could be something closer to that, then hey, he's gonna have value. Yeah, Billy says with JB Spider, Grimes is the better fit than RJ because he's 3-and-D shooting. Well, with that, you know what? I think with the situation with RJ, I'm not too low on when he's shooting. I think he can get there with this thing. Jermaine up in here, salute, peace. What's good, fam? Hope you're well. Y'all want to give up 4 and protected of those things? No, I wouldn't touch 4. It's got to be 3 at max. I think for me, 3 at max. Salute Jason. It's fleece or bust with Ainge. Any deal with him only benefits the Jazz. They should walk away from this trade. Appreciate you. Salute. I think it's negotiating too. I think Ainge starting as high as he can, Leon starting as low as he can, and I think they're going to meet in the middle somewhere, fam, around the 3 unprotecteds, 1 protected maybe, a couple young players, and we call it a day with this thing, right? As long as the Knicks have enough assets to make the next move, that's what's most important as well. This Spider thing's leading up to the next deal, I think. Walter says, salute, just to win 5 more games. I wouldn't make the trade. I would evaluate this roster and Tibbs as a coach and then make moves that we need, right? Great points there too. Fam, yep, this year is going to tell us a lot more. A lot of fans are happy with the path we're on and want to see the next steps, in that direction with the point guard we've had, Mitch returning, one thing I've been thinking for the last 6 months is I don't think Randle's part of this thing long term. I just can't really see that happening long term with Randle. Yeah, Billy says Knicks fans care too much about winning the trade. There's no rings for that. Yeah, up in there, everyone out here straight buzzing, fam. Yep. And just scroll forward and hit on this super chat from the one, the only Lars. Salute. Where have you been, fam? Hope you're well. And he says, if we're getting Spider, shouldn't we worry about keeping players who won't ask for much? It all adds up, right? Yep, it sure does, fam. The salaries, the cost, all of that adds up, man. But yeah, if we're getting him, shouldn't we worry about keeping players who won't ask for much? Because it all adds up, right? Appreciate you for that contribution. Let's get it. And yeah, I think Ainge wants a lot of these low-cost players. That's what the talk has been with Mark Berman, and other reporting out here with the Post. Ainge wants the picks, but he wants as many low-price players as possible. This thing. Yet Parrish is trading more than 2 unprotecteds is organizational suicide move, right? Yeah, we don't want to miss out on that next stud like we did with Jamal Murray. I think we lost out on a heap of other great young players from some of these future picks that we moved out of in the past as well. But yeah, we got to be fiscal up in this thing. We got to be smart, right? And it's me trade my boy for Barnes and Ingram. Those two deals make sense to me and RJ. I've been screaming out for Ingram, but unfortunately, he's looking like the real deal out there for the Pels, fam, with that, man. But yeah, the Pels are going to be so nice with this thing. And Toronto are further up in the standings, because of this situation with now with Scotty Barnes. The Raptors up in here doing things. Yep. I'm not saying nothing else. I'll wait and spin the block later and then check out the temperature in here. They salute. Let's get it. Everyone putting in their 2 cents. This is what this is all about. Knicks fans. Well, how do we want to build this thing? Well, we need to learn from mistakes in the past as well. Not making hasty decisions, hasty moves. We paid Randle early in the piece. We could have brought him back for 1 year to see what it looked like. And that's what I'm trying to say with RJ. Bring RJ back for 1 more year. It doesn't hurt you to see what he looks like before paying him. And especially for Cam. Well, let's say Cam has the year Randle had and he absolutely balls out as well. So, there's a lot of moving pieces with this thing. Parrish is Randle in a protected first pick for Siakam. That thing. I don't know if Toronto would be in the market for Randle, but if they're getting Randle in a pick, they might consider that. I think Siakam's more of a bounce back kind of guy too. Yep. Hard wheel Grimes can't kill in summer league. How can he kill in the starting small shooting guard in the NBA next season? No way he's ready with this thing, right? Yeah, he needs to play more minutes. That's first and foremost. He needs to play more minutes. He's great off the ball. Not as good on the ball as RJ. We could sell high on Grimes still. If Ainge really wants Grimes and it can keep the amount of picks down, then I'd ship Grimes out. Yep, if that's going to keep it down. Yoel, what's good? Always chasing other team stars, but never raise our own. Right, yep. That's that is something that's been a trend. Yep, absolutely. That's been that trend with the New York Knicks. Kaiser, I've wanted Randle for Siakam first. Yep. Mike, the front office want rid of Randle like we do up in here, right? Trying to make some moves out here. CAA, I'll take Grant next year over Randle. Better defender, and he knows how to play off ball. Right? Yeah, he's firmly in Portland right now. Let's see what happens with that situation, right? With Dame Lillard aging up in here. Margaret, salute. Nick should only give up 2 unprotecteds and 3 protecteds. Yep. You're right, fam. I hope they do not move off that. That is the best thing about this deal that I've seen. The fact that their first proposal or the latest proposal was 2 unprotecteds and 3 protecteds only. That could be where negotiations went south, and Ainge said, give me RJ then, or something like that. But we need to hold firm with this thing. Vaughn, salute. What's good, fam? What are your thoughts on this situation? Yep. Yoel, keep RJ's name out this. Yep. I think RJ's coming back, like I've been saying all show. I think he's not realistically going to end up in this deal because he doesn't need to be. Well, Danny Ainge ain't going to let let that kill this deal, right? He's not going to get a better deal in terms of draft picks. So he can ask for RJ, but he's not getting him, I don't think. Yeah, Kaiser says, all I want to know is if we trade for Donovan, and does he take us deep in the playoffs? And if he doesn't take us deep in the playoffs, then what then? What then? What then is we hope that we have assets still remaining, fam, and we need to retool, reshuffle the thing, I think. We wouldn't be facing a dead end, I think, but, we need to make some maneuvers and, and try to fix this thing a bit. That's why I want to get young as possible still with this thing, right? Just still stay young, keep some of these picks so we can keep making draft choices, I think, and get active on draft night and capitalize on teams' desperation, like the LA Lakers right now. LA is quite desperate. We may never get another opportunity soon to move Randle's salary and get a net positive back. So I think the fact that LA could give Utah some picks, we could give them Randle, I think that could be a win-win with that thing, Maybe we try to squeeze Horton Tucker out of there as well. CA says the trade is about how much the front office believes in these kids. If they show out, those picks end up being late first round picks anyway. Yep. Yeah, facts, right? They believe in these kids, right? Well, Margaret, the Knicks have the leverage. I prefer Grimes and Bunsen backcourt. It is better. Yep. Knicks have the leverage, yet you prefer us to keep rocking with what we got and pair Grimes with Brunson up in here. Yep. That is a lot of versatility with that. Grimes is developing and he'll get better, says Margaret. And Kaiser's RJ situation is different from Randle. They're at two different points in their careers. Yet RJ is performing better earlier in his career than Randle did. Yeah, there is a big gap in terms of age with that situation. But the biggest thing to me is mentality. RJ can handle this situation. I feel like, he can take steps back. Randle wants to be the guy here. There's reports, that's his thoughts, when he got paid the bag. Randle first thought that, I'm here to save this team. I'm here to carry us. But that's really not what he is, Yeah. Salute. Jamal Murray was not from the Melo trade. He was drafted 2016. The Knicks have Denver a 2014 pick with that thing. I'm not sure of the exact timeline, but, I always thought that Jamal Murray, one of those future picks we gave Denver, he was a future pick that we gave Denver, I feel, in one of those things. But I may not be right. May not be right on that. I stand to be corrected. That was what I thought. The last buzz on the street is that New York Spider jersey coming soon, right? Yeah, can you imagine those unis coming out here, right? All the concept unis hitting. That'd be fire up in here, right? Yep, you guys keeping things buzzing up in here. Yep. One Shot Sniper says, I think the Jazz want the dream of RJ and to be in their headline for the next couple of years to make them relevant again. Yeah, RJ and Zion with that situation. Good points, right? But I think Zion would prefer to be in New Orleans than Utah even. Utah's best chance, and Danny Ainge knows this sadly, is it's with Victor Wembanyama, with this situation, right? Wayne, in my opinion, there's only one move that needs to be made if Utah is playing hardball, which is move Evan Fournier up in here, right? Fournier's out of here, I feel like, one way or the other. I think at some point this season, Fournier is going to be gone. P. Nice, fans be creating these bogus narratives. Yeah, passions on 100 right now, fam, right? What off-season? There's no off-season, and the streets are buzzing up in here, right? Crazy reports, crazy convo. This Knicks team, it's the biggest sleeping giant in all of sports. ladies and gentlemen, one way or the other, right? We could choose to mix this thing up and build it whichever way we want. But the streets is always going to be buzzing in New York, up in the air, right? And everyone wants a piece of this, whether people want to hate on us or support us, right? We get people paid, right? We get beat writers paid. We get podcasters paid, right? We get James Dolan paid up in there. And Parrish says you don't judge Summer League with Grimes when he played well already in the NBA, silly. Grimes was playing with the ball and working on his playmaking. He's an off-ball guy in season. Grimes. I can't evaluate a dude too in his second year. I think it's with Grimes, it's more what you hope he can be. You know, if you're making long-term decisions with Grimes. Also the same with RJ. You know, RJ's still only 22, 23 years old, I think, not even, 23 maybe. With him, it's like what you think he can be in 3 years' time, 26, in his prime. Jimmy Butler took ages to get where he's at with all of that. Yet Margaret, no one in the market has what the Knicks has, right? Knicks should not budge. Stay firm in what you feel is fair, right? Yep, absolutely on point. Margaret, keep the unprotecteds down to 2. Unprotected picks down to 2. And with that, yeah, we'll see, right? Horton Tucker's trash, right? Yeah, the Lakers trash out here. Harlem Girl, I can't wait till the deal gets done or not because I'm tired of all the rumors. Yeah, it's a 24/7 job up in here just to scroll Twitter up in here, dealing with the next drama, the next leak up in here. Keeping things on a real note, it's unfortunate that players' lives and their names continue to, my most disappointing thing is that these players were named now. Evan, he's a veteran, he's been around, but Obi now, whether Obi stays or not, the fact that, he's heard his name out there in this deal, that's the ugly side of the biz, for me personally. JJ, salute, what's good, fam, what's good? And one-shot sniper, we definitely need a third team to help out, I think, to either take Randle and to give Utah something that we can help. Yep, you're on point with that. Tay, salute, my friend, what's happening? Hope you're well. What's good? RJ won't be as good as Mitchell with that. Yeah, he's got ways to go, definitely. Yep. And I'd rather us keep all our new players and trade our picks. If I could give them 6 and Evan Fournier in a sign and trade with Randle, maybe for Westbrook. So you're more on the more pick side of things to keep the young players out of here with this thing, right? Yeah, I feel you on that. A lot of people in the same mindset, right? Let's trade ESPN programming and put you on all day. Yeah, facts. Let's get it. Appreciate that. Yeah, we real out here. Not what's good, Spider come home. He may not even need to come home because he's in New York and I don't think he's going back to Utah. We haven't hit on this today, but the Mets, his father's team, his team, the New York Mets are doing a Knicks Appreciation Day night, August 30, with Knick legends and current Knick players being saluted by the New York Mets, right? That's crazy. Donovan Mitchell is probably going to be a guest of that event. He's happy in New York, Rucker Park. He's living his best life out here, right? He's probably getting sized up for his uni, copping heat, knowing what number he's wearing, all of that stuff, getting ready for the custom colorway shoes, orange and blue. Yeah, Dara says we need Grimes for our playoff team, right? Yeah, those kind of role players mean a lot, fam. I saw a great clip of Draymond Green schooling some students, telling them that there's 2 MFers that can do whatever they want with the ball, and 13 other MFers need to learn to play next to them, need to learn to play a role. That's just the way the NBA works, fam. Right? Not everyone can ball out with the ball like that, right? P nice 45, getting ready with that. Knicks fans just have an emotional attachment to RJ, nothing more, says JJ with that. That side of it is true. Definitely there is attachment. I also think they want to see us go through with something we haven't gone through, which is development and building through a player that we drafted, even through their flaws with this thing. But yeah, it's definitely, to me, it's a business. I rep New York, the team, and whatever puts this team in a better position, we need to execute. Execute in the right way, execute the best deal. But that's the unfortunate side of the business. These are human beings. We develop an attachment to them, and we have to part ways with them sometimes. My favorite Nick, Patrick Ewing, was traded as well. It crushed me. John Starks, we traded for John Starks. He became a star, and then we had to trade John Starks to get Latrell Sprewell, up in there as well. So, that's just the ugly side of the biz with this thing. A lot of conflicting stories too, whether in Utah what they actually want, fam. Yep, definitely. I think they're just clutching at straws with the RJ situation, right? I think they're not happy with the unprotected amount of picks that the Knicks and that Leon offered, and then I think they leaked this thing out that they want RJ now as well. So yeah, man, you guys need to know, and you probably do know, Danny Ainge is a master at this thing, fam. He's been born to negotiate with this thing, right? Today he's going to throw out some other ish, you know what I mean, to give his side more leverage. Yeah. Conflicting reports of Jazz not wanting RJ, says, what do you, CT? With the conflicting reports, yeah, I think it's all smoke. With that, it's just posturing. The Knicks aren't trading RJ up in this thing, right? I just don't see that happening. I'd be surprised. Knicks fans would feel burnt twice if we lost on Zion twice. Yep, because we traded RJ, and we all know he wants to be in the orange and blue. Yep. And we got a super chat up in here. Eddie F, salute. Let's get it. Peace as well. Yeah, appreciate you, fam. Eddie F, Freezy, Uncle Freezy, the #1 chief rocker. But CT is the hardest working man in the Knicks universe. Really grateful for all you. Been a painful summer. You all keep me going. Eddie, appreciate you for the contribution, man. Your insights in the chat, keeping the convo going as well. Continue to give us your thoughts. Everyone out here buzzing. We are community out here as well. I try to keep my show as respectful as possible. Like I said, you're all fam to me. Whether I agree or disagree with your takes, I've heard and met some crazy people in life as well. But at least we're all Knick fans. The buck stops there, right? If you're not a Knick fan, then I treat it differently. But as a Knick fan, we all been through different things. We all became a fan at different times, and we all want to see this team built different ways. But we all want to see this team succeed, and we all enjoy watching New York City ball and Knicks ball, and and effing the haters out here with this situation, right? The thing is, if you're being hated on, you're doing something right. The Wax Kellerman, Stephen A. Or don't even get me started on the Screaming A's situations, right? They're just Knicks for clicks right now. But we really care about this team, truly. We want to see this team win at all costs because it's been way too long. This team should not have gone this long without winning a chip, right? It's going to happen eventually, but the passion's never died. First and foremost, that's what keeps me buzzing, is the passion with this thing, the excitement, and the anticipation of another new season. I can't wait to be up there as well. I'm trying to hit up some games at MSG and be out there buzzing amongst it. And I cannot wait. It's going to be exciting no matter what. Yep. Appreciate you. Again, P nice. Chip in 2 years. Let's get it. Yep. And we even got an account. Knicks will be 2026 champs as well. If you're still in the chat, salute. Where you at? Julian, salute. Stephen A. Puppet up in here. Fam, let's get it with this situation, right? And I appreciate you. It's me. Everyone out here buzzing. Let's get it. D Rose was in his prime was Ja Morant. Margaret. D Rose in his prime played D and was better than Mitchell. CA, who on the Jazz team can create their own shot in the starting five other than Spider? Yeah, he did. He had to carry a lot. He absolutely did. And he didn't have a great fit with Rudy with that. Top of the morning, salute Worldwide L. Money making Mitch up in here. Big year ahead for him, fam. P, nice fact, RJ is the face of the Knicks at the moment. Six is getting retired. Peace out, Grimes. Yep, when it's time to go, then definitely no other Knicks going to wear number 6, fam. I think I agreed with what the league did with that, right? Yeah. Spider is 25. A lot of the greats don't even win anything till 28, 29, Mike Boy. Yep. That's why I think the front office likes this move so much. They're all in, so to speak, I think, on this deal, right? You know, in terms of the topic of the show and everything, you know, at all costs, I think the Knicks are playing for keeps, and they're going to get Spider Mitchell. That's the worst kept secret right now. Yep. And Danny Ainge is going to get the picks he wants. It's going to be a fair deal for both sides, right? Yep. He's a homegrown. Knicks Nation definitely has that attachment. Margaret hits on with that. Tone Wu, if we get Spider, is Sims coming up off the 45 jersey with that situation? Yeah. Great points. I think, yeah, he got to with that. The Donovan Mitchell Tibbs is the Stephon Marbury thing all over again. Another undersized guard that can only play O, that won't take this team to playoff success with that. You know, there's definitely a lot of talk about what the next pieces are, fam, with that. OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. That's the kind of 3 we need if that's to be successful. I think it's got to be a lengthy defensive wing next to that situation. But, you know, Brunson, undersized. I think they're going to look at Brunson in his first few years to see what the fit looks like and then make consequential moves, I think. Salute, Samuel. Appreciate you. What's good? Coming in from Gainesville, Florida. You're going to be repping this season there, like you said. I know that as well. We'll look out for some big wins in Florida this time out here, fam. I hope you get to see a great product on the court out there and pick up some dubs. Yeah, JJ guessed that Cam would be the starter at the 3 if we traded RJ, because Brunson, Mitchell, and Grimes would be the smallest 1 to 3 ever. Yeah, they're going to have to wear stilts up in there, fam, with that. Yeah, we got to keep it real. We got to keep it a fair deal with this thing. AT Len, what is it? Where's Spider at? Right, he's in New York, hovering, man. He's just ready to put on the costume and get things going, get it popping out here, right? Yep, Mitchell is straight home. P nice, right? Yep. Still Dre. Grimes was not getting ran off. He was showing casing, attacking the rim. These fans say anything. Eddie says, CT, aren't you tired of hearing RJ is only 22? He's played a ton of minutes and needs to become efficient right now. his age is irrelevant in year 4, isn't it? Well, yeah, definitely. I think age, yeah, to some degree in terms of having time to improve, but years in the league is most important, I think, as well, above age. With that, the thing with me personally is I think RJ will become a decent shooter. I think he's got it in him to shoot better, and that's what's important to me. But his ceiling, I'm not as high on his ceiling as some fans are, as RJ. I think he caps out at a 3-2 option, I think at best with this thing. But I love to see a player in their rookie deal complete the deal, so you have more sample size, the maximum amount to evaluate, what you need to pay him and all that stuff, with this thing. Yep. Harlem Girl, appreciate you. The Murray pick was from the Melo deal. It was a pick swap and the final pick from the Knicks, right? Yep. I thought I had heard that as well. Appreciate you for that. Yeah, my point was earlier is that I don't want that to come back and people continue to crucify the Knicks over this thing. Tay, Utah's bluffing. We all know they're in for a Wembanyama tank. Last thing they need is an unhappy Donovan. Then they lose all leverage, right? Yeah. Facts, Tay. And that's why you need to read these reports with a grain of salt, right? Some of them are agents throwing things out there. Danny Ainge throwing things out there. Out of here. Yep. Appreciate you. We've got everyone out here buzzing, man. It's an all-star chat this morning. Salute. New York's finest out here. Got everyone buzzing. And Kaiser says we are not getting another star. We are going to put up everything to get this one star, just a clout chase for the back pages, but it's nowhere near building a contender. Yep. That is the MO. They definitely want to sell tickets, fam. There's talk about the scorers table being removed so that we can install more, courtside seats, so they could sell them for $3,000 a pop. That's crazy out here with this thing. J Dragon, salute. We don't need no stinking spider. You want to continue to go in this direction with the youth that we got and let these guys ball out. Almighty Finesse up in here, salute. What's good? Jericho need to change to 00 out here. Yeah. We better check out number 54 with Jericho out here. Yeah. He's probably already getting ready to make some changes out here. But yeah, what I was saying is, the fact that names are leaked out, man, this thing is real. It's absolutely real now. Obi's name's thrown out there. Fournier, he knows what the deal is. He's probably not paying attention because he's balling out for France. But, truth is, Obi knows he could be in the deal. Grimes knows he could be in the deal. IQ knows, this ain't no secret anymore out here, right? We've got heavy hitters reporting ish now each day. This thing's about to continue to it ain't even close to peak yet. It ain't even about to explode yet up in this thing, right? I don't think the league's ready for what's going to happen with this thing, right? With the Knicks buzzing, the best chat in the biz out here balling, and either way, it's going to be a fun season. Well, let's see what plays out today with more reports. But yeah, we know what the deal is. I don't think RJ is going to be in this deal. I think it's posturing from Danny, and Leon's playing his poker hand with this. Whether it ends up being 2 unprotecteds or 3, Obi or Grimes, whatever it is, right? I think we're going to do a deal that makes this team better, and we're going to go from there. We're going to make the next steps and try to pull in some other moves, and we've got future flexibility still, which is very, very important, right? To do the right things, to continue to build with this thing, right? And yeah, it's going to be absolutely popping out here. Yeah, appreciate you all for rocking, and let's get into it. Tay hits on what's your Knicks hot take for the season? Man, Tay, you want a hot take? Right, let me give you this hot take, right, for this season, fam. And that's the New York Knicks will finish in the playoffs. That will finish above the play-in with this situation, right? That's my hot take with this situation. So, yeah, great question. Now, that's on record as well. I think the New York Knicks will finish in the playoffs, well, in sixth, not in the play-in, in sixth, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. I think we're bound for upgrades no matter what. And I think this thing's going to get popping up in here. Salute. Yeah, JJ, it's very hot. Right, it's coming in smoking hot up in here. Let's get it. Without Mitchell, I would say no. Yep, I've got to say it's with Mitchell up in here. Yep. It's possible without Mitchell. I still think it's possible without Mitchell, but I think we're going to have Mitchell here, definitely by trade deadline up in here. And yeah, things are going to be get ready for some big games, national TV, big games in the Garden, and a lot of stuff buzzing, man. Absolutely. Breakout player, I think definitely it's going to be these younger guys, but I've got to put Brunson. Yep, Brunson's going to go to a whole new level up in here. I'm going to say Brunson, and then it's going to be Obi if he's still on this team, and it's going to be RJ going to have a big year as well with this thing. P Nice is IQ, D Rose, Cam, Mello, Hartenstein as the bench. It will be absolutely on point, man. Absolutely on fire up in here, right? Don't sleep on the New York Knicks depth up in here, right? We got things straight buzzing with this squad, and yeah, I think it's going to be fun, man. And don't forget, we are the force that pushes this team forward, right? With the excitement, with the way we hold people accountable in the Garden up in here, right? Getting into dudes, playing solid D, But yeah, in terms of the draft, we might find ourselves with a late first round pick. I'll be cool with that. We keep a pick and we could continue to add young players up in this thing. But yeah, I think Spider Mitchell will be in Nick. The chat's been on point about some dudes needing to be traded. Sep first with Pat Bev, with these Utah guys out here as well. Look for the buzz. I think the next bit of buzz will be the Lakers coming in here. Woj Shams coming in hot. Begley and Berman coming in with some hot takes as well. And we're going to get it, fam. Let's get it. Salute, salute, salute. We'll see you another day. And peace to all.
You can't be serious. I mean, really though? You mean to tell me that them Voltrons went out like that? Hey, yo, Nims, let me hold this for a minute.
Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, Ho said, shit, let me move my bowels. Bong bing, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house. That playing game don't mean you won inside the playoffs. Don't even talk to the media, take that jersey off. The 4 games I'm tuned in, you had the city watching. Don't even watch Philly play, just watch James Harden. That swing pick, never mind, I let my man take him. And now Katie having nightmares of Jace Tatum. That famous line by Loaded Lux that you gon' get this work. Don't talk to me about Ben, he said his back hurt. Like Kyrie, like Steve Nash, you can take the blame. Come next year, I'm going back to playing half them games. The truth be told, we don't care about your Barclays. When it comes to the city, this here's RJ's. My young gems right now, yeah, they on some shit. From Obi Toppin, I man your ass real quick. A line flip, no, I feel bad for Blake Griff. That's the loss you gotta take to win a championship. Now you back like the New Jersey Nets. What you thought your Final Four was cutting down the nets? Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house.
When it comes to the city, it's all. You can't be serious. I mean, really though? You mean to tell me that them Voltrons went out like that? Hey, yo, Nims, let me hold this for a minute.
Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, Ho said, shit, let me move my bowels. Bong bing, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house. That playing game don't mean you won inside the playoffs. Don't even talk to the media, take that jersey off. The 4 games I'm tuned in, you had the city watching. Don't even watch Philly play, just watch James Harden. That swing pick, never mind, I let my man take him. And now Katie having nightmares of Jason Tatum. That famous line by Loaded Lux that you gon' get this work. Don't talk to me about Ben, he said his back hurt. Like Kyrie, like Steve Nash, you can take the blame. Come next year, I'm going back to playing half them games. The truth be told, we don't care about your Barclays. When it comes to the city, this here's RJ's. My young Jims right now, yeah, they on some shit. From Obi Toppin, I man your ass real quick. A line flip, no, I feel bad for Blake Griff. That's the loss you gotta take to win a championship. Now you back like the New Jersey Nets. What you thought your Final Four was cutting down the nets? Bong bing, close the train doors. The broom swept, can't believe they got old Ford. Kyrie, you a problem child. Well, Ho said, shit, let me move my bowels. Bong bing, this must be a dream. I thought I saw Spike with the other team. Bong bing, what we talking about? No matter who's on your team, you in the Knicks house.
When it comes to the city, it's all.